It's time now for the Peter Channel 5 o'clock news, and it's Wednesday evening, June 1st, 2016. Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Wiggins. I your 5 o'clock news runs at our top story at 5 on this Wednesday evening is the police at the University of California, Los Angeles on Wednesday after 2 people were shot dead on campus. And the shooting was a murder-suicide, police said. Cairo, a French naval vessel, was detecting underwater signals from one of the Egypt Air Flight 804 so-called blackboards, investigators said on Wednesday. Newark, New Jersey. Hillary Clinton, December, Donald Trump's namesake said a training program called a school board evidence that Donald Trump himself was a fraud. Days after a young boy fell in the grill exhibit at the Cincinnati Zoo prompted the zoo's decision to shoot and kill a 17-year-old gorilla, archive video has emerged showing a similar incident 20 years ago, with a very different outcome. A pair of former employees at Trump University, a for-profit real estate school launched by presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, described the course as a fraudulent scheme focused on making money rather than educating. That case has highlighted how medical officials in the U.S. are monitoring and are pregnant women and mid fears that the Zika virus could be transmitted locally. Mogadishu, a suicide bomber in a car crashed into a gate outside a hotel frequented by lawmakers in the center of the Somali capital of Mogadishu on Wednesday, and the attack was followed by gunfire, killing 15 people, police said. Ottawa, some residents returned to Fort McMurray, Alberta on Wednesday for the first time since wildfires forced them out of the ravaged city 4 weeks ago. The United Nations Security Council is set to discuss the possibility of starting humanitarian air aid drops to besieged areas of Syria. So, the U.S. Treasury has decided to increase pressure on North Korea, a primary money laundering concern, in fact, a provision of the USA Patriot Act. Brazil. Brazil's economy contracted 0.3% in the first quarter of 2016, the 5th straight quarter in the country in the political turmoil has seen its economy shrink. Kismayo, Somalia. Somalian officials said that organizers of a last year's massacre at Garissa University College in Kenya is dead. In Seoul, a submarine launched ballistic missile in North Korea fired on April 23rd was featured in footage there for the first time on Wednesday. London. Hundreds of wax writing tablets dated back to around 1843 have been found during an agricultural dig in London. Caracas, Venezuela. Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro on Wednesday accused the opposition to withdraw his parliament of committing treason, but he urged the OAS to take action. So, yesterday, Benjamin met with North Korea's Vice Party Chairman Wednesday for the first time in 3 years. The Chinese president has met with a high-level Pyongyang official. In news around the U.S., Jamal Clark was shot and killed by a Minneapolis police officer in November, and no federal charges for Minneapolis officer in the fatal shooting. Florida prosecutors announced Wednesday that a grand jury indicted former Palm Beach Gardens police officer Norman Rocha on charges of manslaughter by a couple of negligence and attempted first-degree murder with a firearm in their shooting to death. St. Catherine's College in Kentucky was closing its doors after a protracted fight with the U.S. Department of Education that left the small Roman Catholic school and financial in Houston, Texas. A metro bus crashed in downtown Houston just over Minute Maid Park has injured several people. The crash occurred just after 1:30 p.m. Removed as president and given a full-time church role, Kennesaw will not serve in a role in that university. Donald Trump confirmed that the PGA Tour will move the annual World Golf Championship in South Florida from Trump National Trail to Mexico in 2016. May U.S. auto industry sales weakened year over year, with General Motors, Ford Motor, and other manufacturers reported lower U.S. auto sales. As of today, for the first time, federal law prevents British car companies from renting out vehicles that are subject to safety recall until they have been fixed as a result in part by a years-long campaign by the mother of 2 young women killed. OPEC made the last effort to restore an organization many dead only weeks ago to the working on a deal to restore unity among some of the world's largest oil exporters as ministers gathered in Vienna. U.S. Drill Continental Resources trying to sell packing crude oil to South Korea, but transportation hurdles remain. Bucharest, Romania. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles in the talks and partner with a Romanian arms company to manufacture cheap J8 4x4 military vehicles, AGERP news agency reported. Link being Sweden. The Sweden Defense Military Administration has given Sovereign an order to provide defense anti-submarine warfare trained in the Swedish Navy. Traffic Connecticut, as the Sikorsky S-76 commercial helicopter is performing a 30-mile autonomous flight as part of the U.S. military project. He knows around the region. Attleboro Mayor Kevin Dumas is still invited to speak at the Attleboro High School graduation party despite the students wanted not to have him in the rest of the senior class. School committee chairman Steve Williams Jr. said once that they're not going to disinvite him. High school is not like college where students can invite a speaker to protest or get a speaker disinvited, he said. In a survey of graduate seniors on Twitter, 6,600 students voted that Dumas should not speak because of what they said was a lack of funding for schools that had deleted the teachers being laid off. Dumas cannot be reached for comment. About 46 Attleboro school employees will still lose their job because of lack of funding despite a $2 million increase in their school budgets. School committee chairman Steve Williams said on Wednesday. Mansfield, 5 candidates have submitted their names to replace former school trip committee member Michael Turbidge resigned after being elected to the board of selectmen last month. Ramfam Police said he will seek charges against the suspect made comments on Wednesday morning on another person that went to discord about Thursday to blow up the courthouse. Rehoboth State Senator James Timilty has got an amendment attached to the Senate version of the budget that would prohibit the controversial natural gas pipeline from being installed within 1 mile of homes, churches, and schools. One in New Hampshire, officials say it managed to paddle to survive a crash to this ball pit, and the New Hampshire force is still recovering from his injuries. Scientists have discovered a specific mutation that famously turned moths black during the Industrial Revolution in an iconic evolutionary case study. A black form of the pepper moth rapidly took over the industrial parts of the UK during the 1800s. Comet 67P, German moths just was seen in the Poland and European space agencies was that a spacecraft too low comet would shape that some scientists rev it up. Experts warned the public against a potential spread of a fungi-borne illness known as salamander. China disease which has been linked to mass deaths of wild animals in Europe and the UK. NASA commercial reporter Orbital ATK pulled up the first major test of the new upgraded rocket yesterday. The main engine on a vehicle called the Antares was ignited for 30 seconds and the rocket was held down the launch pad. The Food and Drug Administration lead on food industry to cut back the amount of sodium and added to processed prepared foods. Researchers are getting a better understanding of the link between estrogen levels and migraine headache in women. It's a disease affecting more than 47 million people on its way to you, as vultures hand out purple carnations to pass by Wednesday as Alzheimer's and brain awareness month kicks off. Smoking marijuana for decades may result in gum disease and potential tooth loss, a new study indicates. Okay, take a look at the closing stock market report. The Dow closed the day up 2.47 points at 1778 up at 67. SP 500 up 2.37 points at 2099 up at 33, and Nasdaq 4,952.25 up 4.20. European DAX down 58.30 points at 10,204.44. FTSE down 3.86 points at 6,191.93. CAC down 3.23 points at 4,475.39. Asian markets. Nikkei 279.25 down close at 69.55.33. Shanghai down 2.41 points at 29.14.21, and Nasdaq down 54 11 points at 2,760.98. Oil markets. 16 cents down to 40.94. Brent down 16 cents to 49.73. And natural gas up 86,000 points at 2.374. Gold markets down 2.10 points at 1215.40. Silver 29,000 points down at 50.965. And copper 235,000 points down at 2.072. Bonds, US 10 up 5,000 points at 1.8389. Bond 10 yield up 5,000 points at 0.139. And Japanese 10 yield down 3,000 points at 0.12. And FX bonds. European US dollar down 1,000 points at 1.1184. US dollar Japanese yen up 200 points at 109.54. And Great Britain pound 144.12 down 2,000 points. Alright, commodities. Wheat up 9 at 473.5. Soybean up 21 3 quarters at 1,100 and a quarter. Corn up 9 at 413 3 quarters. Sugar down 50 cents at 17.34. Coffee up 45 cents at 122. Cotton down 69 cents at 63 and a quarter. Rough rice up 7 cents at 11.01. And cocoa down 24 at 3,035. Live cattle 117.375 down 675,000 point. Lean ox up 55 cents at 81.125. And FD cattle down 775,000 point at 146.325. In Orange, Massachusetts, above acted on Route 28 and Julian Road. And two car one rolled over one transporter check levers. And Granite, Massachusetts, 4 alarm fire at Threatened 93-year-old dumpster road building fully involved extension of bus TFS rehab. 7 respond. Peter Childers on 510 it is time out for a spot report. The Boston Red Sox will square off against the Baltimore Orioles down in Baltimore at 7:05 p.m. Alright, other scores around the majors. It's Oakland Athletics leading Minnesota Twins 49 top of the 5th. Top of the 11th, it's New York Mets, Chicago White Sox started 1, and Milwaukee Brewers over the St. Louis Cardinals 3-1. Cleveland Indians outfielder Merlin Byrd has been suspended for 162 games by Major League Baseball after he tested positive for the growth hormone centrifugal impairment, and thus called Kansas quarterback Peyton Manning couldn't beat the Steve Spurrier coach Florida Gators. Now Manning can just join them as Peyton Manning and Steve Spurrier on college football HOVFL. Peter Chell News Time is now 5:10 on this Wednesday, 18:07 now for a travel report. Let's study up down in Rhode Island, where let's stay off the round where 95 minutes at Bantai, it's open, protected all the way at the Route 10 in Cranston. 95 minutes North Bantai, it's open, 37 in Cranston all the way at the Route 195 in downtown Providence. 195 on West Bantai, it did slow from 114 in East Providence to downtown Providence. 195 in East Bantai, it's on downtown Providence. 146 on the South Bantai, it's from 15 to Route 95. 295 on the South Bantai, it did slow from Route 6 to Route 44 in Johnson. Route 37 and slow on both ends from Cranston to Warwick on 295 to 95. 95 on the South Bantai, it did slow after 295 in West Warwick. 146 on both ends, also from 295 in Lincoln to North Smithfield. 195 in the East Bantai, it did so from Route 6 in Swansea all the way at the Bracken Bridge and Fall River. 95 in the South Bantai, it did so from 120 in Kenton all the way out to Route 295 in Attleboro. 24 in the South Bantai, it did so from 120 in Kenton all the way after 27 in Brockton and Nebraska and around Route 495 in Bridgewater. Out in the Cape, 28 on the South Bantai, a little around Born and Southwood Bridges all looking good. Route 6 from 7 on Orleans. 495 in the South Bantai, so from Marlboro all the way at the Milford. 290 on West Bantai, it is so from 190 to Route 9 in Worcester. Mass Park on the East Bantai, it is slow go from 128 in Western all the way at the Newton and hit breaks again. Lost Tours all the way at the downtown Boston on both ends of the Mass Park, and Mass Park is backed up all the way at the Route 9 in Framingham. 120 on the South Bantai, it did it so from Needham all the way at the Braintree Split. 120 in both ends of sort of the Braintree Split. Southwest Expressway in both ends sort of Park Line at the Braintree Split. 93 in both ends of downtown Boston and Slogo. 93 in the South Bantai, so from Sunrise to Zakin Bridge. 93 in the North Bantai, is backed up from Boston all the way up to the Lawrence. 120 on the North Bantai, it is slow from 20 Waltham all the way up to the Route 1. 120 in the South Bantai, so from Route 3 out in Burlington all the way up to Route 9 in Wellesley. Route 3 on the North Bantai, so from 120 in Burlington all the way up to 113 in Lowell. 495 in the South Bantai, it is so 93 in Andover all the way up to Westford. 495 in the North Bantai, so from Route 3 in Lowell all the way to Tewksbury. 495 in the North Bantai, so from 20 in Andover all the way up to 213 Methuen. And 120 on the South Bantai, so from Denver's all the way at the Peabody. 120 on the North Bantai is backed up from Waltham all the way at the Peabody. Route 2 in West Bantai, so from Devon's just before Route 190 in Leominster. I-91 on both ends also from 291 to Route 57 in Springfield. Up in Vermont, New Hampshire. New Hampshire on Route 3 in the North Bantai, Everett Turnpike also on Manchester Stretch. Spalding Turnpike on the North Bantai, so from 95 in Portsmouth all the way to Route 4 in Durham. And up in Maine, on the main turnpike on the South Bantai, it's also after the Green Interchange. 295 on the South Bantai, so from downtown Port Maine all the way at the South Portland. 295 on the North Bantai, it's so from South Portland headed towards Portland. Out in Connecticut, IE7 on the North Bantai, also the Pittsburgh stretch. IE7 on the North Bantai, it is slow from the freeway to 77 in the Albany stretch. New York State Freeway on the West Bantai, also before 890 in Schenectady. Out in Connecticut, 91 on South Bantai, so from Hartford all the way at the Meriden. I-91 on the North Bantai, so from Meriden all the way at the Windsor. I-84 on both ends, also from West Hartford all the way at the downtown Hartford, and I-84 eastbound is backed up all the way at the 291 in Manchester. I-84 on the West Bantai, so from Bristol all the way to Waterbury around Route 8. And then I-84 on the East Bantai, so from New York border to Newtown, Connecticut. Out in Connecticut's coast, 395 on the North Bantai, the Lowell's around Route 2 in Norwich. Merritt Park in the East Bantai, the Lowell's from Greenwich all the way at the Bridgeport, and then 95 backed up from Port Chester, New York all the way at the Bridgeport, and 95 hit the brakes again for the New Haven stretch, and 91 in the South Bantai, the Lowell's around New Haven and highways and byways of New York City, Oswego and New York City vicinity. Alright, take a look at MBTA alerts at 5:15. The ferries they are looking good. Green Line B branch has model laser to early vandalism at BU Central. Still on S5 enforcement model laser traffic and Red Line express model laser disabled train at Davis. And on the commuter rail, Franklin train 7:24 5 p.m. from Forge Park is canceled today. All train passengers can take train 7:20 to 5:04 p.m. from Forge Park. And Naval Line, notice the mini high platforms currently out of service at Andover Station. What a beautiful day today. Waiting. Please board Worcester Line trains and advance platforms at Wellesley Farms Fireman stations until 7:30 p.m. Please board inbound Worcester Line trains and outbound platforms at Freeman Wellesley Farm stations until 7:30 p.m. Peter Childers on 5:18 on this Wednesday evening, and it is time now for a weather report. Current conditions in North Massachusetts, 85 degrees, temperature first class, 24 above Celsius, humidity 50%, wind speed variable 6 miles an hour, barometer 30.15 inches, 55 degrees, and visibly at 10 miles an hour. Alright, look at that. Current conditions around the region, it is 63 degrees in Boston, 30 in Beverly, and in Gloucester, 33 in Bedford, 32 in Lawrence, 39 in Pittsburgh, 34 in Worcester, 78 in Sturbridge, it's 76 in Milford, 73 in Norwood, 76 in Taunton and New Bedford, it's 64 in Plymouth, 63 in Provincetown, and Chatham, 60 degrees in Nantucket, 32 in Falmouth, 71 degrees in Martha's Vineyard, 79 in Providence, 75 in Westerly, 67 degrees in Block-On, 71 degrees in Montauk, 76 in Islip, New York City, 75 in Bridgeport, New Haven, 78 in Danbury, 77 in Waterbury, Connecticut, 81 in Meriden, Connecticut, 83 in Hartford, Connecticut, 84 in Winslow, 81 in Springfield, 84 in Greenfield, 79 in Norfolk, 81 in Northam, 78 in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 83 in Albany, New York, 86 in Silver Springs, 79 in Rutland, Vermont, 78 in Bennington, Vermont, 77 in Rutland, Vermont, 82 in Lebanon, Hampshire, 75 in Keenan, Chaffin, Hampshire, 76 in Nashville, Hampshire, and Clark, Hampshire, 74 in Manchester, Hampshire, 73 degrees, Corning, Hampshire, 70 degrees out in Portland, Hampshire, 69 degrees in Port Maine. Alright, take a look at our current map situation around the country. A cold front from Texas stretching all the way up into Illinois, merged with a low pressure from Illinois, and a station front from Indiana and Ohio, merged with a cold front from Pennsylvania stretching New Jersey and at the sea. And a pink front from Northern Illinois stretching up into Wisconsin and into Minnesota with a low pressure on the northwestern portion of Minnesota. Here we got cold pressure means the British coming down to Alberta, high pressure ridges off Oregon, eastern Quebec, and the Gulf states, and a high pressure ridge around the Central Rockies and the Central Plains. Followed by with a low pressure from Southern Oregon down for California. And then over followed by from Southeastern California down for the Gulf of California. Low pressure right there. And low pressure centers also around southern Texas. And high pressure ridge up the Canadian Maritimes. And low pressure system down the Carolinas with a front boundary also remains a Bonnie. 81 degrees at temperature in Detroit. It's 85 in Pittsburgh, 84 in Washington, D.C., 91 in Atlanta, Georgia, 86 in Brownsville, Texas, Miami, Florida, 78 in Dallas, Texas, 80 in Kansas City, 75 in Chicago, Illinois, 66 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 82 in Great Falls, Montana, 70 in Seattle, Washington, 69 in San Francisco, 68 in Los Angeles, 94 in Las Vegas, 96 in Phoenix, Arizona, 8 in Salt Lake City, 68 in Denver, and 72 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Alright, let's take a look at radar and take a look at the radar scene where it is clear as a whistle in New England, but zooming out to the country as we look at the national radar scene, and it shows the remnants of Bonnie from southern Virginia down for eastern North Carolina, stretching off North Carolina coast. Lana's patchy showers and storms. Clusters of showers and storms by the much of the southeastern states and down for Arizona and Colorado, and then a lot of showers stretching from Texas all the way down for Oklahoma, down for southern Missouri and Carolina, and southern Illinois, down for Indiana, and down for western Ohio, up to Michigan, and up in the Northern Ontario, and another line of showers and storms from Wisconsin stretch to UP and Michigan, up to Northern Ontario, and a line of showers and storms from central and northern portions of Minnesota, down for western Ontario, and down for southeastern portions of Manitoba, and a line of showers and storms from northwestern Washington State, down for southwestern portion of British Columbia, and a line of rain showers in eastern and southwestern portions, southeastern portions of Alaska, and eastern portion of British Columbia, and a line of spotty rain showers around Alberta and out of western portions of Saskatchewan. Alright, take a look at satellite loop, and it shows line of clouds coming from Maine down to New Hampshire, Vermont. Patchy clouds from central portions of Massachusetts and out to the New England coast, and a line of clouds come from Texas and stretching on the western Great Lakes, western Gulf states, and stretching up to Michigan and out to Ontario, and then up in the northern Minnesota. And a line of clouds from northeastern California down to northern Nevada, and about Idaho down for western Montana, and a line of clouds coming from British Columbia and about northern Manitoba, and a line of clouds coming from Oregon and Washington State, stretching at the Pacific coast. And a line of patchy clouds from Georgia and around central portions of Florida. Alright, let's take a look at some clouds from Virginia and North Carolina as a remnants of Bonnie. Alright, take a look at forecast and discussion. High pressure centered over the Maritimes. We'll bring dry weather tonight and Thursday. A cold front sweeps across southern New England Friday for some wet weather. A brief period of some light condition for Saturday. High pressure, then an unsettled cool weather pattern and wet weather pattern develops Sunday continues for the early next week. Daytime cumulus over the western and central Massachusetts will linger for the evening number of sunshine by the layer of thin shirts. Tonight and a while, quiet weather night with first skies and light wind. Low level flow will remain from the east and northeast, and model forecast RH cross sections with a thin layer of moisture developing near the surface. Especially in eastern Massachusetts, but on satellite and miniature shows just through this area. No sign of development of low clouds. Such a development may take until dark before it occurs. And the forecast today shows a low level moist layer not reaching us until after midnight. The forecast will show low clouds and fog development after midnight, and right on in eastern Massachusetts. Covenants is low and moderate, but difficult to bet it gets into the coastal plain this time of year. Temperatures in the mid 50s, those minimum temperatures in the 50s. And take a look at weather notes. Expected 10% chance of rain by Thursday, 40% chance of rain by Friday. Saturday will be dry, 70% Sunday. Water temperature 59 degrees, and tornadoes average 3 in Massachusetts, 8 average tornadoes in New England, and average month July. Predicting lows tonight 51, 55 degrees, and highs 60, 67 on the coast, and 32 to 81 inland in New England. Alright, 7-day forecast goes like this. For tonight, we're going to have some patchwork after 4 a.m. Otherwise, increased clouds about 52 degrees east about 5 to 10 miles per hour northeast after midnight. Thursday, patchwork before 10 a.m. west. Clouds skies at mid-morning, then becoming most less skies about 71 degrees. East with about 5 to 9 miles an hour. Thursday, patchwork drizzle between 2 and 3 a.m. Patchwork after 4 a.m. west. Most clouds skies about 55 degrees southwest, about 5 miles coming common in the evening for Friday. Isolated showers and scattered showers and thunderstorms afternoon. Patchy fog before 8 a.m. west. Clouds skies about 77 degrees. Cloud will be coming southwest 6 miles a day after the chance of station. 30% due to great northwest and a 10 minute check them out as possible thunderstorms. Friday night, isolated showers and thunderstorms before midnight. To the slight chance of showers between midnight and 1 a.m. Most skies got a little about 59 degrees and south about 35 miles an hour. Chance of 20%. Saturday, part to the most skies got about 81 about 60 degrees. Sunday, rain likely afternoon and before 10 p.m. Most skies got about 73 about 61 degrees. Chance of precipitation is 65%. Monday, chance of showers part to the podcast got about 70 about 59 degrees. Chance of precipitation is 30%. Tuesday, chance of showers put to the most skies got about 66 about 56 degrees. Chance of precipitation 30%. And for Wednesday, chance of showers put to the most sleep cast skies about 72 degrees and chance of precipitation 30%. Critters, what a phrase of the evening. Beautiful 9 and tap and terrific 13 tap for some clouds. And that's me for the period show. 5 o'clock news. It is June 1st, 2016 on Wednesday evening pre-saver. Good evening and good Friday student, and I'll see you at 11 o'clock for 11 o'clock report. Have a good day.